Welcome to the joy of coding.
Welcome to episode 26 of The Joy of Coding. Hello, I'm Mike Conley. We're going to be hacking on Firefox. I say this every time. We're going to be hacking on Firefox again today. It's going to be a great time. We're going to be looking at some bugs. We're going to be using a debugger. We're going to be making Firefox better. And thanks for joining me. Let's do this. So let's take a look at what's on the docket for today. Whoops. So I have an agenda. This is another thing I say every time. In the additional links section, if you're watching this on Air Mozilla, down below this video, there's an additional link section that should have a link to this agenda with clickable like links that you can click on, so that you can follow along with me as I go, like for the notes for the bugs I'm working on, etc., etc. So that's an option for you if you'd like to follow along. I invite you to do that. So, what's going on today? Well, first of all, reminder that no plan survives breakfast. We're going to do our best to follow this sort of set of bugs or set of tasks we want to do today, but who knows what'll go on. Maybe an emergency will crop up and I'll have to do something else, or I'll get blocked, or I'll get stuck down a rabbit hole and you get to watch. So that's kind of the name of the game. I want to remind everybody, I had said this last episode, and I'm saying it again this episode, that I'm going on break. I am gone for August 26th, the September 2nd, and September 9th. So that's 3 weeks where there will be no new episodes of The Joy of Coding, but take heart. I will be back on the 16th of September with episode 27. It'll be great. I'll probably have a bit of a tan. We'll see. Maybe I'll play more funny sounds like or
What happened?
maybe I'll have some new sounds. We'll see. So, all right, let's get down to business. Oh, one more thing. If you are watching this and you want to talk with me live in IRC, we are on irc.mozilla.org in the live hacking IRC channel. And if you're watching this on Air Mozilla and you don't know if you don't know if you have an IRC client or something, there's a web-based IRC client in the links, additional links again, that will open up in your browser and you can talk to me from there. I think that's all I want to say. So let's get down to business. If you were watching the last episode, I was working on making it possible to gather profiles from performance profiles from processes that had not yet started and have already exited before we gather the profiles. And I'd gotten pretty far along, and in the meantime, since that episode ended, I've gotten even further along, and I've actually reached the point where I think the infrastructure to do everything I want to do is there, but it does not appear to be working. And so now I have to figure out why. So that's what we're doing today. Why isn't it working? What's going wrong? And did I do it wrong? So it's actually a combination of two bugs in the agenda. It's start profiling subprocesses if the parent process is already profiling, and then the other one is make it possible to gather profiles from processes that have exited. And this 1193838 depends on the code from 3094. So this is the one on top, and this is the one on the bottom. And I've already got my builds done. I know there were some problems last week where I was like building for a long time. So I've got my builds done. We don't have to wait for building. So let's get going. So let's take a look at what's going on when we actually try it. I've got a debug build here. I'm going to start it. And you can take a look at some of the stuff I've done in my notes for the bug. I checked off a bunch of things, and now I have it so that when the content process exits and it notices that we've been profiling, it will send a message up to the parent with the profile, and then the parent will tell the profile gatherer, I have this profile, stash it, hold on to it. And then the profile gatherer, when it detects that the user is attempting to gather profiles asynchronously, it will stuff those gathered profiles into the final output, is the sort of general idea. It's kind of like this, if you've ever seen those like old school firefighters who are using a bucket to put out a fire and they're passing the bucket of water along. That's basically what's going on here, except instead of a bucket of water, it is a profile. So it's just like bucket, a profile, along, and finally we splash it to the user. That's kind of the idea. So I have this running build of Firefox, and it is sitting back here, not really showing itself. I don't know what the dealio is there, but I can take this opportunity to attach to the parent process. Oh, there it is. So I have LLDB in my Xcode. I will start up Xcode. La 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 la. Slow build, slow build. Okay, so I will attach to the parent process. I'll also attach to the content process. So now I'm attached to both. Now there are a couple of breakpoints I want to hit. There's the place where the content process exits and decides to send a message up to the parent with the profile. I want to make sure that's working properly. And then there's the part where the profile gatherer gets that profile and holds onto it, and I want to make sure that's working properly. And then there's the point where the user requests the profile, and we want to make sure that we're stuffing those gathered, what I call exit profiles, into the final string. So those are the three places we want to make sure are working properly. The first place that I mentioned was the place where the content process exits and we want to send the profile up to the parent. And that's in content child right here. Receive gather profile. Right here in this block here on receive shutdown. So I will. And we're going to have to kind of be fast because when we receive the shutdown, the parent has got like the stopwatch. Like it sends the shutdown message to the child and then starts timing it. And if the oh, that's a good point actually. I hadn't considered that. Consider increasing shutdown content child shutdown timeout if parent process notices we're profiling. The reason I'm saying that is because if it's a large profile that we've got from the content process, it might take longer to shut down the content process. And if the parent says, look, this content process is taking a long time to exit, it'll just kill it and we won't get the profile. So we might want to make that a little bit more dynamic. So if it notices that we're profiling, then we can increase the timeout length to something a little bit longer. Okay, so receive shutdown. That's the first breakpoint I want to set. And content child. Hopefully that is the right signature. Come on, Xcode, figure it out. Figure it out, Xcode. Good. And then the next one is in the parent process. Where content parent receive profile. So I can probably just do content parent. Oh, this I can't do in this process. I have to actually do it in the parent. So let me break the parent. And I will set a breakpoint on content parent receive profile. Great. And then there are a couple of other to do in the parent as well. There's the gathered out of process profile. Right. So the content parent stashes the profile that the child sent up. And that doesn't do anything with it. But the profile gatherer over here, when it notices that, wait, where's this OOP exit profile? I think that's what I want to make sure we're sending. Oh, right. If we notice that the content parent is actor destroying, that's like it's shutting itself down, then we will post that profile to the gatherer. So I want to make sure that's working, so we'll set a breakpoint in actor destroy. Come on. Quiet. And then what else do we want to do? I want to make sure that we're actually stashing it properly, so that's in the profile gatherer. That'll be over here. So profile gatherer. And then in the observer, we're going to make sure we hit the observer. Great. Okay, so we've got all of our profiles. We've got all of our breakpoints set. So now we need to find a way of shutting down the content process while profiling in order to simulate this. So we are profiling, and so the content process should know about that. And now if I were to browse to a non-remote page, the content process should realize that, well, we don't have any more remote tabs, and then it will shut itself down. Or rather, the parent will tell it, we're done here, and it will shut it down, and that should trigger all of our behaviors. So I'm going to send us to a non-remote page like about config. All right. So let's see what happens. So the parent at some point is going to realize, hopefully, that we no longer have any. Here we go. Yeah, so the child has received the information to shut down. Come on, let me step through. Don't have a lot of time here. I'll just continue. Right, so we do that, and then we are going to send a profile. Did I run out of time? No, thankfully, no. Not yet, it seems. So we have this profile, and how big is it? Is it empty? Why you keep sending me back? P profile C string. What are you? That might have been a bad idea. This might be a humongous string. I don't know why my machine is being so slow right now. It's taking so long. This seems to happen every now and then where for some reason, everything slows down, and I don't know why. What's taking all of my CPU? OBS is apparently taking a lot of my CPU. So it's Xcode and CrashPlan. So what I'm going to do is shut down the CrashPlan service for now. I'll temporarily shut that down. Hopefully that will free up some stuff. Shut down CrashPlan, shut down CrashPlan. We still haven't printed out that string yet, jeez. Find if the CrashPlan service is running. Not running, so unload to stop. Here we go. Let's unload the content pros, or CrashPlan. Couldn't stat that thing. Per user? Oh, it's probably for everybody. So this thing. Stop. Quietus. Okay. Great. CrashPlan is shut down. Hopefully that will ease us up a little. Did we ever finish this? What? Can we just continue? Are we just boned? What's going on here? Xcode. What you doing? Well, we know something's being sent up. Let's make sure that the parent is receiving a thing. Let's do that instead. So I'm going to actually... I think this process is hosed for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but Xcode is flipping out. I'm probably swapping like crazy. So I'm going to kill this process. I don't think Xcode even knows what's happening anymore. I'm going to shut down Xcode and stop these tasks. So that's killed the browser. I'm going to give Xcode 5 more seconds to shut itself down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't push me, Xcode. I will force quit you. Alright, so that's done. What I'm going to do actually before I continue is I'm going to modify content parent so that send shutdown. There's a timer, and I want to make sure that timeout seconds. I want to change the shutdown timeout secs to like 500 seconds, something like that. That will do for now. All right, so let's rebuild that. And then link it up. Search Chrome, maybe someone looking. Someone in IRC says they're unable to get the stream up with Firefox. It wouldn't load the player, and they had to resort to Chrome. Something to look into. Tefra, does Flash work in general for you in Firefox? Because that's what our player currently uses, unfortunately. Okay. Resorting to Chrome to watch my stream, the height of irony. Wah wah. Using Chrome. What you doing?
I can't do my work!
Alright. That wasn't, sorry, I didn't mean to lay on any Chrome shame there. I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable solution. It's just, it's sad that the video is not working in Firefox. Apparently Flash generally works, so I'm going to see if Richard can help you, Tefrad. Richard is kind of the wizard behind the scenes who knows Air Mozilla inside and out, and maybe he can help you if he is at his keyboard. So now the parent, it knows not to kill the process until long, long after it sends the shutdown message. Because I wonder if that's what happened, is we hit our limit. But you know what? I'm not even going to set a breakpoint in the child this time. I'm going to set the same breakpoints except for the one in the child. And it's kind of lame that I have to reset these breakpoints, but that's just life. Attaching, 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 attaching. Okay. So in the parent process, we are going to break on B, receive content parent, receive profile. We're going to break in. Oh, come on. We're going to break in. You know, maybe it'll help if I do this. IPC content parent actor destroy. Is that? No, it doesn't like it. Sorry, Mozilla DOM. That's what it's supposed to be. Mozilla DOM. Yeah, that's faster. If I give the full name, and then I want to do profile gatherer, OP exit profile, B Mozilla profile gatherer, observe. Nope, not observer. Observe. Okay, so we are profiling in this process, in the content process, hopefully. We should be. And I'm going to now switch away to that about config page. So that's a non-remote page. And here we go. So we have received a profile from the child. The profile is a string of length. I may have screwed myself. I may have screwed myself here. I hope not. How do I get the length? The length? Or no, not B. There's no such thing as that breakpoint. No, 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 no. Yeah, no. Quit saying that. I want to say PA profile dot length. Oh, I may have screwed myself yet again. Yeah, as soon as I try and examine that string. So the good news is I'll bet you we have a string. because if it was just a string of length 0, if it was an empty string, we wouldn't be having these problems. It's probably a humongous string, and that's why Xcode is flipping out. So here I go again with a frozen Xcode, taking up 1.85 gigs of my memory and 98% of my CPU, along with OBS. So let's stop those tasks. Quit this Xcode. We're going to try this again, but we're not going to examine the profile. Force quit. Force quit everything. Shut it all down. Alright, let's try it again. Still have the profile lock. Alright, let's try it again. What? Something is still attached to the profile. How many nightlies do I have? There should be one. There should be one. Good, okay. Root-to-do. Just favoriting things in Twitter while I wait for this build to be ready. People making good jokes on Twitter. Happy. Waiting for this build. And now we will open Xcode. Okay, so once again, let's set our breakpoints. This time, we'll be a little more careful, and we're not going to... Stream page doesn't show a player. What? Richard! Help! Help! Richard Miliuski. I hope you're watching. He might not be watching, Tefra, just so you know. But he'll see the IRC traffic afterwards, and he'll be able to give you an answer. And then in a couple weeks when I get back, maybe we'll have a solution. So what do I want to break on again? So we receive the profile on content parent. I'll do Mozilla DOM content parent actor destroy, and we're also going to do wake up. Good, and then Mozilla profile gather OP exit profile, and then I'll gather observe. Good, and that is all I care about. We're going to see if we do each of those. And now I will switch over to about config. And that should get us to hit our breakpoint, so the actor is being destroyed. I'm not going to inspect the profile. Do not inspect the profile. But I will hopefully get here. The profile is not empty, so we can OOP exit profile. So I'm just rather continuing into the same breakpoint I'd said earlier. So we are appending an entry. So PA profile entry dot length. Is it length? So it's quite long. Yes, good. That's good. That's what I wanted. Continue. So now, if I were to attempt to gather the profiles, this might take a couple seconds because gathering profiles on a debug build can be pretty slow. Go, go, go. Drum roll. Come on. Come on. Do it. I think I'm gonna run out of drum roll. Yeah, we haven't hit it yet. I shouldn't have ended the drum roll. I should just let it fade out. But that's okay. Where are we going? We should hopefully have a profile soon. Content process. Profile. And yet it wasn't working before, so hopefully we'll see where things have gone wrong. We have the profile. The profile gatherer has it. It's in this array where of like 5 that I cycle out. So like I append things, I will append these exit profiles, and if we're ever equal or greater to 5 profiles in there, we'll just chuck the top one out and append a new one on the end. And that way we got this like circular buffer thing of 5 profiles. And the reason for that is because in tests, like Talos tests, it is possible for tabs to open and close such that they create many profiles, or many processes and exit processes. And well, I felt prudent to have a cap on how many we would store. What is going on here? We're clearly doing something. We're thinking a lot. We haven't not yet hit the breakpoint. Oh, we're consuming memory. More memory. Oh, memory's going down a bit. Going down. This is depressing. Come on. Where are you? Breakpoint. Well, let's give it 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. 20 seconds to hit that breakpoint. Here we go. I believe in you. Do not fail me. Alright, nothing. This is taking too long. So, maybe I shouldn't use a... Maybe I shouldn't be using a... Oh, now it's gathering unresolved symbols. Well, at least it's responding. So that's good. But I don't think it ever hit our breakpoint. So we're never hitting the observer. So that's interesting, because I'm pretty sure we added an observer. Here, add observer for profiler subprocess. Is that the right observer message? Profiler subprocess. Like that would be a very easy bug to make, is that I get the topic wrong. Profiler subprocess. Let's just copy this string into the clipboard. We'll check. That's the one. That's the one that's supposed to be sent. And yet, this did not hit the observer. Okay, so now we know what the problem is. The problem, okay, so current problem. Profile gatherer observe is not being fired. Why not? Let's find out. I'm going to detach from this process. I'm actually going to shut this process down. I do not care anymore, Mr. Tab. I do not care about this profile. And instead, I will shut down the browser. And what I will do instead is use an opt build. And an opt build will hopefully perform better. We won't be waiting around for so long, because I think we were waiting for like 5, 6, 7 minutes to get some results there. We need to shorten that feedback loop so that we can make progress faster. So I'm going to use an opt build instead. I was using a debug build because for the longest time I thought that's the only way you could debug on Xcode, in Xcode on OS X. Like back when I was doing most of my development in Ubuntu, you needed to use a debug build if you wanted to like debug Firefox, unless you just wanted to be looking at assembly all day. And so, much to my surprise, I was able to attach to an opt build last week with Xcode and like step through code and stuff. And sometimes you run into places where there's been optimizations, um, and that gets a little hairy. But otherwise, running an opt build and trying to debug it is sometimes going to work. So I'm pretty sure we want this younger one here at PID 72477. 72477. 72477. So, hypothesis 1. The topic is not being fired. I test, find another profiler, sub-process, topic handler, topic observer, and see if it gets handled. I'm pretty sure that this hypothesis is wrong, but let's eliminate it. That's a good sanity check. Hypothesis 2, the topic observer is not being registered properly. Test, set a breakpoint where we set the observer, make sure the return code is NSOK. Okay. So let's do this. So break, Mozilla profile gather, and then the place where we set the observer, I think, is in start, when we start to gather. Profile gather, when we start, we add the observer notification. And if we were to fail, because this is a void, we just warn, and then we move on. So possibly this failed, and we warned, but I didn't notice. Let's find out. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to make sure that profiler sub-process, this is working. So that's line 3160, break on content parent CPP 3160. Okay. So I'm going to start up a content process. Now we'll shut down that content process. Hey, it still remembers our breakpoints from before. Great. And now I will add an observer, or I will gather the profile. See, isn't this so much faster? So we have started, and now I'm going to step through these things, and we should hopefully be properly adding this profiler sub-process observer. What is RV now? PRV. Did I warn? Was I supposed to pass true here? Maybe I wasn't supposed to pass true. Profiler sub-process. That's under observer topics. And it passes false here. I wonder if that's my problem, is that third argument for the NSI observer service, how does it work? If I remember correctly, it has something to do with like, it has to do with like whether or not it's a weak reference, I think. Add observer boolean owns weak. If set to false, the NSI observer service will hold a strong reference. If set to true, supports the weak reference interface, a weak reference will be held, otherwise an error will be returned. So I'll bet you that's what's going wrong. Profile gather does not support weak references. And so that's where I'm screwing up. So I'm going to, topic is not being fired. I don't think we're going to test that anymore. I'm just going to cancel this test. I highly suspect format, strike through, I suspect this is actually the case. I wasn't able to inspect the return value, but I'm pretty sure I'm passing the wrong third argument to add observer because profile gatherer does not support giving up weak references, or does not support having being does not support being held as a weak reference. Held with, not as, held with a weak reference. So I'm going to set this to false. Perhaps that was my problem, and that's it. So let's continue. What? Oh, I think I accidentally opened another Firefox. We're done here. So we did hit this, so I can actually unstrike through this on that. Result, it is, this hypothesis is false. Test. So let's set that value to false then and see if that helps. Not values, third argument. So I've done that. I'm going to quit this browser. Continue. Don't block shutdown. And it shuts down. Great. So now it's false, and now I will rebuild under Tools Profiler. I think that's all I need to do. You know what? Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to say build binaries as well, because sometimes you never know. Sometimes it's not clear when you're building Gecko, at least for myself, what is important, what directories, subdirectories to build. And it's gotten a lot better than it used to be. I remember working on Thunderbird back in 2011, and like I just had to rebuild the base directory every time to be sure, because otherwise it was never clear which directories needed to be built in order to like make your changes manifest. That's gotten a lot better. The build infrastructure now is a little smarter. It's quite a bit smarter, thanks to folks like Glandium and GPS and a whole bunch of other people making that better. Glandium, if you're watching, that was for you. Okay, so technically I should, like, just watching that last bit of activity, I should have already opened and closed a content process, but just to be sure, this should create a content process. So we should have 2 web contents, and then we go back to about config, and that closes the web content. And now I will analyze, and I should, I believe, have 2 content processes, histograms in this profile. Come on. Believe. Yeah, we actually have 3. This is good. This is good. So one was created at the beginning, then I shut down, then another one was created, and then that got shut down, then we have another one. So it's working. We have ourselves some working stuff here. And then if I were to analyze this one, I should probably only get 1. I should only have a single content process, because whenever we gather, we clear out the profiles that we had gathered. At least for now. So I'm glad I think that was the bug, and so yes. Yes, it does help. Things appear to be working. So now, yeah, we have the single content process. So this is good. This is exactly what I wanted. And so we have a working chunk of code. Now there's some things to consider. Consider There are some follow-ups, but there are all things I would like to consider in the sense of this bug, maybe to talk to my reviewer about. Consider not having content parent and plugin module parent hold. Consider not having those two hold reference. How do I phrase this? Consider not having content parent and plugin module parent. Consider them. I think that's English. Consider not holding a reference. I'll just make it easier to profile gather in plugin module parent, Chrome parent, and content parent, and just query SI profiler for the profile gatherer every time. That saves us having to hold on to it and like thinking about the lifetime of the profile gatherer. At the same time, it means that we have to do more like XPCOM query interface stuff, which might not be so bad, but it's something to talk to my reviewer about. So the whole point in this, the whole reason I did this was to see whether or not we can now get profiles for our tab switching Talos test with E10S, and that's very important in order to make tab switching faster. So I can actually test that locally to see if whether or not we can actually get this information that we've been doing all this work in order to get. Because I have a local build of, or a local checkout of Talos, and I have my patches on top to make profile dumping work. And now if I do Talos develop, and then say that the active test is TPS, and I believe I've told it to only do a single cycle. I've modified Talos, I think. Here, diff. Yeah, I've gotten rid of a bunch of the pages, and then I put in some loud logging, and then I reduced the number of cycles to just one. So this should work. TPS, and then I'm going to say that the executable is at projects. It's going to use the opt build, of course. Obj dist nightly contact. That's the executable. I'm going to say SPS profile because that's what I want to do, and I also want to tell the whole thing right from the get-go. Whoops. I want to go to the beginning. Where's option? There's a keyboard shortcut that allows me to go to the beginning of the terminal, isn't there? I guess not. Home? Oh, it's home. Of course. I want to say moz upload dir equals and then present working directory. And then I'll go to the end again. I'll say help to blank this out because I don't actually want to execute right now because I want to remove the pre-existing stuff that I had in here. Profile, TPS. Yeah, all of those can go. Okay, now we're ready to roll. So we're going to run this Talos test, and hopefully we'll get some profiles in the... Oh, no! Stop. I also want to tell it to do it with E10S. That's important. That is important. So we've echoed Gecko profiling. That's good. We'll see if it works. Up the profiles. Come on. I ran out of time. What's taking so long to zip up these profiles? Oh, come on. Oh, good. All right. Parsing. That's great. Done. Okay, so I should have, yes, profile TPS SPS.zip. Now unzip it. Unzip profile TPS. And here, have this profile that is, I think that's like 390 kilobytes or so. Let's see if we can open that in Cleopatra. I've got a good feeling. I got a feeling that I've got myself a profile. What? No. Where? No. It doesn't work. Where? What? 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 This is not working. There is no. There's no profile. Why isn't that working? Gah! Why aren't we getting our our content process profiles when running with Talos? What the dealio? Well, shoot. I guess we're going in. We're going in. We can attach a debugger. We can attach. We can check some things. We can check some things. And we don't get a whole lot of time because whenever the whenever the Talos starts up, it moves fast. So let's get rid of this garbage, this disappointing garbage. Profile TPS. Is there a way to tell it to wait for a couple seconds? TP delay, length of the page loader delay. Maybe I can do that. I'll get it to delay for like 10 seconds. It should be long enough for me to attach. Amount of time to cleanly close. That might be enough seconds for me to like attach TP delay, like 10 seconds to attach to the process, and then hopefully both processes actually. Maybe I should make that 15. Okay. And I'm going to attach to both processes and make sure that we're coughing up a profile at the end. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So we should now have a process starts up and shuts down. Then another one starts up, and it's this one. It's very young. It's 74630. That's what I'm going to attach. 74630. Good. And then the web content, which will be very young. I'm going to break this one. I'm going to set a breakpoint. Don't continue. Don't continue. Shoot, and it's gone. It's gone. Timed out. Browser shutdown timed out. What? What? I need to like move faster, I think. 30. We'll double the delay. Then Nightly goes away, comes back. We want to use this one, this really young one, 74642. 74642. Oh, it's going. It's going. Slow down. Okay. And now break, content, parent, actor destroy. Break in Mozilla profile gatherer, exit, or out of exit profile, and then observe. Okay. Observe. So we're seeing that we want to get the profile. Some actor destroy. We're inside actor destroy now. Hopefully we'll. And we're gone. Ah. Okay. This is too hard. I'm going to do logging instead. So For logging, I'm going to have the content parent report on whenever actor destroy is being called. So, printf. This is old school debugging. Content parent actor destroy being called. It's an oldie but a goodie. Printf debugging. I'm hearing some singing from the other room. We're a rowdy bunch at Mozilla. Checking to see if we have a profile to send to profile gatherer. Printf. We do. Sending to OP exit profile. Else. Printf. We do not. WTF. Okay. And then a little bit more in profile gatherer, we'll say printf profile gatherer saw profiler sub process, and then printf there are lights. That's a Star Trek TNG reference. It's the one where Picard's being interrogated by a Cardassian. That's pretty nerdy. There's nothing wrong with that. I like Star Trek. And then let's see. I think that's all I care about. Oh. Okay, so let's build this and then rerun Talos. Mock build. Those, you know what? I'm just gonna do binaries. It's 1:52. Probably gonna go till 3 as usual. Or no, I normally stop around 2:30, depending on. Oh, I should be using ZU. All right. I forgot it's not an integer. All right. I might go till 3. We'll see how far we get here. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm also all open to suggestions on or ideas on what might be going wrong here, because I do not know myself. This is fascinating stuff. This is why. Oh, it doesn't like something. A trigraph. There's a what? Does not like this trigraph. Okay, it doesn't like my interrobang. Okay. Why didn't it like my
What
interrobang?
happened? Hey, what happened?
It's so important, that interrobang. Today I learned that WTF interrobang will cause a problem if you printf it. Secret revealed. Alright, so let's try this Talos business again. And I don't need a TP delay anymore, but hopefully I'll see a bunch of printf output. Okay. So there's a WTF there. We didn't have a profile. Probably because the profiler wasn't running. Checking to see if... Okay, then we run. Finishing up a test. Getting async profiles. Profile gather saw profiler sub process. There are no profiles. And then we send something on exit here. Is it possible that we're yielding unfinished test, getting async profiles? We load up this. We load that page. And then we try and gather the profile? That's wrong. We have to do it after. we are attempting to gather the profile here. This is all the startup. So it's possible. I mean, all the work we've done has been good because there are like legit reasons, and it's an actual bug that you want to be able to capture a process that has started up since you started profiling or has ended since you started profiling and before you wanted to gather. But I wonder if maybe um, I was wrong again about what the problem was. So yield, finish test, finish. When delayed start finish, we run the test, tab switch test results. I think we're running the profiler at the wrong time. That's what we're doing. So what is page loader? Page loader is part of Talos. It's like this infrastructure. It's this add-on that Talos installs whenever it runs a Talos test that loads a page and times how long it takes for the page to load. And that's great for pages where you just want to see, like, you just want to measure page load times. But we kind of like abuse that add-on to do other types of tests, including TPS, this tab switch test, which loads a page that causes us to open a new window and do all the tab switching work. And I believe that first page that loads up, that opens the window, that's what we're measuring on. That's what we're currently like yielding the profile for. And that one is a non-remote page. So that's why we don't have profiles. We need to yield the profile after the content process is finished switching through all the windows. So tab switch test results go in. And then what happens? Subject close, then we record time. Let's double check. Yielding on finishing a test. So we go into PL next page. Load up. Okay, finishing up a test, yielding on finished test, getting async profiles. That happens when we load that first thing. And then we load this thing up and we switch between all the tests. Profile begin. PL load page. When does shutdown occur? Quit. Go quit application occurs here. PL stop all. And when else? Quit. Quit application. So PL stop. What's calling that? How does the test know when it's done? That's what I want to know. So what we can do is actually have PL stop. Stop all. Dump. Page loader is quitting. And then let's get a stack. So maybe that will give us a clue as to like what signals the parent that we're done. So it's going to load this page. It says like hello world or something. Hello Talos. And that's what we've measured. And then page loader is quitting because we do what? A success on something. We post a message on a promise. We're running PL next page. Call stop on 726. Collect memory. PL next page 466. So it does this. Because next page is not equal to true. Why do we do this double equals to true? That's pointless. It should just be do next page. Okay, well I could do this like yield profiler finish test. Would that work? For profiling. Let's see. Let us see. Aha. Now what's happening? What's happening? It's taking so long. I have a feeling we've screwed up. We screwed something up. We must not have resolved. Must be waiting on something in the profile gatherer. Oh boy. Starting a gather. Oh. Oh. If we start a gather and then the profile, if the content process quits in that window of time, we need to decrease the gatherer count. And that would happen here if I'm gathering. Then gathered OP profile. If we exited while gathering, process exited while gathering, we need to make sure we decrement the counter. Okay, so maybe that was the problem. So let's try that again. I'm going to build binaries. Possibly this control flow is very complex, or like could be made more straightforward. I'm hoping my reviewer can help me pound this into shape. That's why we do code review. Let's try it again. So that is an expected WTF, and then we're going to do Page loads. Got him. Okay, done. Getting async. Checking to see if we have a profile send it. We do. Sending to out of process exit profile. Hmm. We'll gather. Profile called. Pending profiles. And then printf. Gathered. Okay, profile called. Capture. Okay. Let's try it again. Again, I do think the control flow can be made simpler here, less foolproof. We've got async stuff, we have counters. That all smells like bugs to me. This is where bugs can leak in. All right, built. Do it again. Okay. What? What? God. I thought I said we were going to print these things. That not happen? Build tools profiler. Yeah. So then why didn't we see this? Yield. Gathering. Am I making more bad assumptions? Profiler, finish test. And then it's using finish test here. Getting async profiles. Get profile data async. And we never resolve. Get profile data async. If we error out, dump. Just dump out the error. Row. Okay. Maybe we're getting an error from here. Somehow our promise is being rejected. Get profile data async. Profile gatherer should be instantiated. It should be started. Started. What? What? And then, yes, that's right. Okay. What is going on? This is a mystery.
What happened?
It's me, Mario! Mamma mia!
Alright. If you're interested in how I'm triggering those sounds, check out episode 16, I think, where I talked about Wacky Morning DJ. Or you can check my blog for Wacky Morning DJ. That's what I'm using to play sounds. Profile gather. We do. Getting async profiles. Whoa, whoa. Profiler gather started. There are 0 light. Got him. Okay, done. Okay. Async profiles. Finishing up a test. Why are we doing that twice? Why are we doing that twice? Maybe we were wrong to put this here? I'm just guessing now. A lot of guesswork. Where's that second one coming from? This is the problem with async stuff. Async's great for performance. We do. But we don't gather it. You need to gather it. You need to gather. Here I am, printf debugging like a chump. Because sometimes that's the only move.
Oh, yeah.
Aw, yeah. Do. What you doing, Talos? So NS profile or get profile data async is called twice. Once here when we load it, and then once again at the end. Done. Okay. Get profile data async called, and then actor destroy. Data async is called, and that promise never resolves. Profile gatherer. Done. Profile gatherer should finish up. Profiler gatherer finishes up. Should set all these things to false. And then we start it up again. But for some reason, profile gatherer start. Where's start called? Gecko sampler. Here. Is there no gatherer? Printf. The gatherer. There is no gatherer. Man, we are going to learn a valuable lesson when all this is done. Valuable as in it took a lot of time and effort in order to learn it. Hope it's a good lesson. Hope it's worth it. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Faster, faster. Okay. Now we're done. Get profile data async is called, but we never get to here. Huh. So I wonder if we die out in here. Failing out at point 1. I used to call these checkpoints. Failing out at point 2. Failing out at point 3. Calling profiler get profile JS object async. Okay. Again, this is going to be a very valuable lesson, whatever happens. You're killing me, Talos. And I wrote this profile gatherer stuff. We have seen the enemy, and it is us. Alright, let's do it. Let us figure this out. We're going to figure it out. Calling, so it actually calls it profiler get profile JS object async. So now we have to go into this file. Yeah. What? I thought we did. Gecko profiler func get profile JS object async. Isn't that what it's called? Maybe I have the name wrong in my logging. I'll just look for async. There it is. Mozilla sampler get profile data async. And I think that should go into here. Mozilla sampler get profile data async called. I suspect this is where the problem is. Printf. No ticker. And we build. So let's try this again. Building, 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 building. Linking, and we are done. All right, let's try it. This waiting kills me, this beginning wait. But the reason that Talos does that at the beginning is because it wants to like wait for the browser to settle down. Because there's a lot of stuff that kicks off when the browser first starts up. So there's no ticker. That's the problem. That's the reason. There's no ticker here. And why is there no ticker? There's no sampler. Because maybe we're not profiling. That's probably why. We haven't resumed the profiler. Resume. Profiler. And yet, I'm pretty sure Bootstrap page loader, Bootstrap, resume, here, run with test helper, dump, resuming profiling. Request animation frame. And we pause, resume. And maybe here's where we should do, maybe, oh, you know what? Wonder if instead of in the page loader where we were doing our yield filer, here, instead of doing it here, we should maybe do it over here. Just callback time. So what if I do profiler dot, what was it? Finish test returns a promise. Profiler dot finish test, then call a callback. See if that works. Test done attempting to gather profile. Okay. I don't think actually I need to do that. I don't think there's anything to build. I didn't change anything. I didn't change any binary files. I just wasted time. So what's the dealio? Attempting to gather profile. Finish test. Wonder if this threw somehow. Did it throw? Somewhere in Bootstrap. Profiler finish test is undefined. Yeah, that would do it. Profiler finish test. What should it actually be? It was profiler finish test. Oh my goodness. What? I'm about to flip out. What's in profiler here? Dump for let I in profiler. Dump profiler has, and then show me all your properties. So one other horrible thing about Talos is that we use this like profiler script with copies of it all over the place because it's reused. It's a packaging problem. So there are a bunch of parts of Talos that are designed as add-ons, and what we want to be able to do is have like this shared profiler script, but instead what we have is like this copy that's used all over the place, and we just copy changes from one to the other, and it's really, really bad. And that might be what has burned us here. Profiler has these things. It has finish test. So what's your problem? Then maybe it's because finish test is returning let finish test promise equals profile finish test. If finish test promise finish test promise, then else dump finish test returned undefined. So it's possible we got empty.
You're getting married!
Whoa! Oh, holy smokes! Hello! This is, I don't know if you are aware, but I am getting married soon. And this is Ricardo and Abby, both, and they've delivered plushies. That was highly surprising. Highly surprising. Thank you so much. Come poke your heads in. Poke your heads in. This is Abby. Abby, you may never have met Abby, but she runs Mozilla Science. She's awesome, and she's actually the one who lends me this secondary monitor every damn week. So, thank you, Abby. And Ricardo, you've probably seen before. Ricardo is the star of the Hour of Design. There he's floating his head in. There you go. And are you streaming today?
No.
He's not streaming today, but he might stream next week, maybe.
Will.
He will be streaming next week, so check that out.
Framer.js.
He's gonna be working on Framer.
Framer.js.
Framer.js.
Rapid prototype.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So he's been doing some rapid prototyping. Is that the thing you were working on last week as
Yeah.
well? Okay, it's with he's working with some students. He's getting them like this cool like design I guess guidelines that we
Style
work
guide.
on. Style guide. That's what it is. He's working on a style guide. It's pretty badass. So you should check it out. I have all these plushies now, and they're doing this because I'm getting married. That's why I'm away for a couple weeks. Secret's out. Thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you for the plushies. Thank you. I like that plushie particularly, the big bulbous one. Yeah. Thank you for that. Holy smokes, that was unexpected. Let's see. What am I doing? What am I doing? Finished test did return undefined. That was the problem. And finished test returns undefined. Why is finished test return undefined? Finished test returns undefined. It doesn't even get in here. Oh, because one of these conditions must be false. If else dump profiler is profiler and enabled is enabled. Man, my heart is still like racing whenever they stop by. I was not expecting that. That was a scary moment, but it was also very heartwarming. So thank you, Abby and Ricardo. Enabled is false. That's the problem. That is the problem. So why is enabled false? We aren't profiling when we are supposed to be profiling. In, where are we? Bootstrap. Here, when we run the test helper. At this point, the profiler has stopped. Why is that? Because we've paused the profiler? Who, like, enabled is false, and then when is enabled set to true? Whenever we init from object, enabled equals false, and that it starts that way. Init from object, when is that called? It's never called. The hell? Oh, and that happens here. Profiler init. Wait a second. Hold on. Oh, okay. I think I know what's up. So the page loader has, like, it's this multiple profile script thing that's burning us. The page loader has its own profiler. Bootstrap also loads its own profiler. They need to use the same one because there's state in that profiler object that is that we depend on. How can we get at page loader's profiler profiler object? Page loader .zool. Reload the profiler. So if we can get a handle on the page loader window, so that's what we should use instead. Instead of trying to load the profiler as a subscript, we should not do this. What we should do is attempt to get the page loader window. services get window. So services NSI window watcher. Window watcher, I think is what I want to use. Get window by name. And page loader, it uses a name, right? It has a title. Is that good enough? Maybe not. Let's give it a name, and then I'll try again later. Get window by name. By name. Let's quickly check out the definition of that. Find item with name. Item with name has more elements while we get it, and then what do we do? We're gonna have to at some point do a comparison. Get same tree item. Must have tree item with same item type. Root owner. Find item with name. Where's the comparison? Somewhere at some point we get a name from the window. Window. Or we're calling find item with name on something else. Yeah, on a doc shell tree item. Find item with name. Real quick. Tree owner. Chrome and content. Let's just check these all out. I think actually the one we want is Chrome, but name. Do find item with name. Doc shell tree owner. And then there's like Chrome content. So is it using title? Man, this is old code. Main. I don't know. I don't actually know. I haven't found out yet. But I do know that when we've ever used get window with name, I think is what it's called. Get window by name. Oh man, I just had it. And it's window watcher. Get window by name. Get window by name. Test win. What? Yeah, we can probably, so test win. What do they use? Test win equals test win. Open window. That's the name of the window. It's the name of the window, not this thing. We need to use something else. We can't use get window by name. We have to use like open window. It's not window watcher. It's probably window mediator. I know this is all very confusing. Window mediator. Get window. Get Zool window enumerator. Get most recent window with a particular window type. Turn the topmost window of this type. Type is a window type attribute. Get inner window, register window. So that's probably what we want to do. Type. Get most recent window, and then we pass the type. So window mediator. Type is page loader. Talos. Well, I'll just call it page loader. All right. And then we do services window mediator get most recent window. Page loader. Win, PL win equal that if PL win profiler equals PL win dot profiler. All right, let's try that. And the thing failed. Something went wrong. We did not load things properly. Probably in Bootstrap, looking for problems. Profiler is null. At 132. 132 plwin dot. Is there any way? So get most recent window. How does one reach inside and get the value from that window? Services, get most recent window. Browser window dot. And then yeah, we just grab it. Grab that global. Unless it's called something else. Page loader profiler equals. Profiler. Huh. PageLoader.zool should have a page loader. Alright, well. For let I in plwin, show me all yo properties. Dump I. It's really expecting that to work. Okay. Show me all the properties of that page loader window. Profiler should be in there. I don't know why it's not. Maybe there's some security thing that's preventing me from. Huh. We probably can't. We're not getting here. Oh. Else. Dump. Cannot find window with type page loader. And why would that be? I have the type here. Type page loader. Window with type page loader. Window with type. Get window with type. Get window with type. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Get window with type. Get. Oh no, it's get. Oh. It's get most recent window. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Get most recent window, and which is what I was using, and I can't find the type page loader. Get most recent window. Maybe I need to read the source. Get most recent window. Weave account setup, for example, or browser cookies. Window type equals browser :cookies. And then what do I say? I just say type. It needs to be window type. Aha. Aha. Now another thing I need to do is make it so that if we can't find the plwin, then I think what we used to do is set profiler to the empty object or something. And there's no ticker. Started. So we're not quite there yet. We're making headway, but not much. So let's. What do we want to do in this case? We want to. type of profiler is not equal undefined. So I need to put in like if let finish promise equal profiler.finish test or promise.resolve. Okay. Now what am I doing? I don't need this anymore. We're using the right thing. Using the right profiler. Resuming profiling. Does that ever happen? Resuming profiling. Resuming profiling. Dump. Pausing profiler. And when I pause the profiler, what happens? Pause. Pause sampling. It just pauses. It's not supposed to stop. Stop. Stop profiler happens here. Finish startup profiling. It happens here. Stop profiler. Dump. Stopping the profiler. On finish test, because we finished the test once. Oh my goodness, that's why. Okay. What a mess. What a mess. Oh, how does Tart do it? Init with init. Fire.js. When does Tart init the profiler? Init from object. Page tells page load tart init from object runs it here. This init from object is called inside the profiler. Init from query URL params. It's never called. What? How does this work? Fire finish test. It doesn't. Okay, I'm having like a brainwave here. I know I've been quiet for a couple minutes. What's going on? Okay. So the problem with gathering Talos profiles from TPS is that TPS the TPS test causes finish test to run too early. This means that finish test to run too early. This means that the profile that we dump out is for loading the TPS, or what is it? TPS test.html document and nothing else. That's no good. How does Tart do this? Tart uses the same page loader mechanism to get started up, but I guess it doesn't cause finish test to be called until it's ready. How is that so? How is that so? Maybe there's something inside here. Class Tart? No. Class Tart. Where we say that mods after paint. False. How's page loader work? Page loader event listener. It's waiting for Moz after paint. Ah. Wonder if that's it. Is that it? And then how does Tart tell it that we're done? How does Tart tell it that we're done? Init. Callback. Trigger start. Done test. What's done test? Is this. And then do we like post that stuff anywhere? Trigger start. Trigger start. Update config. Run test. And done test is here. Stringify all that stuff up. How do we signal the parent that we're done? Oh, done callback. Run test. Config, and then there's this done test. Chrome exec that dispatched this. Oh my goodness. Chrome execute. Exec event. Done callback. How does it work? How does it work? Message. Set ASAP run test. New Tart start test. Callback. Run test. Start test. Proxy services. This is so complicated. Proxy services. It has own property. We send the result. When do we tell it when we're finished? Grep finish. Profiler Tart. Done. Done internal. Add-on content Tart JS. Done. On test complete. Test complete. Done callback. Start test is called by is so complicated. Okay, well, how about Moz after paint? How does it? Moz after paint. What does it do? It doesn't do any of that. But, like, does it tell it to quit? Done. Done test in Tart HTML. I saw that already. And I already looked for finish, right? Execution might finish quickly. Or close? Maybe it closes. Close. Close browser tab or window. Maybe it just closes the window. Tart.js. Close. Maybe that's enough because the window closes. Close current tab or window. This, click close current tab. Close tab or window. Clean up. Clean up. So one thing we can do right away is use that Moz after paint thing in here. Class tart. Nope, it was the other one. Class tart, and we'll say Moz after paint equals false. Class TPS, and then will that be enough to cause us to not collect when that first page is loaded? Man, this has been like multiple levels of failure. Add-on is missing bootstrap method startup. Syntax error. Missing conditional expression. So that's probably my fault. That's definitely my fault. Something is screwy in my code here. I did some kind of like, aha, yeah, ternary. I was being too clever. It's missing bootstrap method startup. Shouldn't be. So I must have like some bad, oh, missing a semicolon before a thing. In bootstrap.js, where? 115, tab switch. Bootstrap 115. Let finish promise equals. I got that backwards, that's the problem. Okay. So good. Now we load the add-on correctly. Wait a couple seconds. Finish test promise is not defined. Line 117. Oh, that's why. I have a good feeling about this test run. Let us start a drum roll. What's gonna happen? Oh, ticker. Damn it. Stopping the... Oh, maybe we don't need that second finished test now. Hold up, hold up. Maybe we're okay. Maybe we don't need to do this part now. Let's try that again. Drum roll. Some of this is like pretty serious guesswork. Some trial and error. Eh. Hey! What are we doing? What do we, did we get a profile? Did we get it? Huh? It's, maybe, got getting async profiles. Getting async profiles. Did we get it? I don't know. I have no idea. Let's unzip profile TPS. We've got this. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna have it. I got a feeling I'm gonna be disappointed again. Come on. Damn it. Where is it? Shoot. So I think, man, that is a disappointment. It looks like we're profiling at the wrong times and then attempting to gather the profile at the wrong times. And that sucks. This needs more investigation. Folks, we did not get nearly as far as I had hoped today. That is kind of how it goes sometimes. That's life. But we learned some valuable things. We kind of have a sense of what's going wrong, and that's better than nothing. And we figured out what was wrong with this stuff. We actually got this stuff to work. We can gather profiles from processes. Here, let's do a quick test, and I can demonstrate to ease your and my mind, your mind and my mind, that I'm going to I've got a content process, and now I'm going to go to Homestar Runner and start a plugin process. And now I'm going to shut down the plugin process. I'm going to shut down the content process. And then I'm going to start another content process. I'm going to shut down that content process. Now I'm going to wait a couple of seconds, and I should have a number of content process profiles and a plugin process profile. Come on. Yeah, worker, do it. Yes, and no. Where's the plugin process? That's kind of disappointing. I have 3 content, no plugin. Well, crap. Wonder what happened there. Well, we'll take more experimentation, but we got these 3 content processes, which is nice, but I think there's more work to be done here. And I didn't get to any of this reviewing, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to call it here. Thank you so much for watching episode 26 of The Joy of Coding. Just again, a reminder, I am away for the next couple weeks, as Abby and Ricardo let you know. I am getting married, and we're going on a honeymoon and all those lovely things. So I will be away. So I won't be gone for long. On, I think it's September 16th, I will be back with episode 27, and I might have like a wedding ring on. I might be like larger because I've eaten so much on our honeymoon, that sort of thing. So we will see. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you watching out there, and keep on rocking the free web, as Potch would say. And I'm going to call it here. So again, thanks for watching, and see you soon.
The joy of God.